Have you ever regretted choices you made? Or even wondered if taking a different path might have changed your entire life? Don't doubt it, you're probably not alone. What if I told you, somewhere in the universe, there might be another you exactly the same, and right now, that other you might be living a better life, even holding the identity you dream of, and sharing life with the person you missed out on? What would you think? This isn't science fiction. It's backed by serious scientific theory. Hello, Earthlings. Welcome back to the Cosmic Guide to Sleep. This is a corner for exploring the ultimate mysteries of the universe, and a companion for your bedtime thoughts. In the past, we've explored the wonders of black holes, the enigmas of dark matter, and the search for exoplanets. Today, we embark on an even more extraordinary journey of the mind. This journey concerns you directly. We'll delve into a question that's both scientific and philosophical, both cosmic and personal. How many versions of you exist in the universe? In the time ahead, we'll peel back the layers of theoretical veils together. Starting from the bizarre quantum behavior in the microscopic world, to the breathtaking infinite scale of the macrocosm, I'll reveal two seemingly independent yet complementary scientific paths. How do they converge toward a conclusion that overturns our everyday perceptions? You will discover that what you perceive as coincidence, what you believe to be unique, may hold a different meaning on the cosmic scale. This exploration unfolds in four progressive parts. First, we enter the mysterious realm of quantum mechanics to see how physicists deduce the existence of parallel universes from the behavior of microscopic particles. Then, we elevate our perspective to the entire cosmos, examining how infinite space inevitably leads to the emergence of another you. Next, we'll weave these theories into a portrait of all possible versions of you that could exist across the cosmos. Finally, we'll return to reality to explore what all this means for your life and choices right now. Whether you're a science enthusiast or simply curious about your own existence, this journey will open a new window of thought for you. Now, find a comfortable position and relax. Let's begin this ultimate exploration of self and the universe together. The first question might start with your most genuine emotions. When you regret past choices, where is the version of you who made different decisions? Is he truly living the life you imagined? To answer this, we must first grasp a concept. Is the parallel universe a scientific reality? How did it emerge from physics mathematical equations? When we speak of parallel universes, what images immediately come to mind? Perhaps the five-dimensional space Cooper plunged into in Interstellar, where he glimpsed every past moment of his daughter Murphy, or the gathering of Spider-Men from different universes in Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, uniting against a shared crisis, or perhaps the chilling dinner scene from the night the comet came. Countless selves crossing paths across infinite parallel timelines. These pop culture works are undeniably captivating. They have successfully embedded the concept of parallel universes into our collective imagination. But we must clearly recognize a crucial point. These are artistic creations, science fiction narratives. They often drastically simplify and dramatize scientific theories for dramatic conflict and narrative pacing. This leads to a widespread misconception that parallel universes are merely the wild fantasies of science fiction writers, concepts detached from any real scientific foundation. Today, my most important task is to help you clarify this misunderstanding. Parallel universes, or the multiverse, is not a proven scientific fact within the context of modern physics. This point must be made unequivocally first. Yet it is also far more than mere science fiction. It is a reasonable scientific hypothesis grounded in existing physical theories. It represents serious mathematical derivations proposed by scientists to explain some of the deepest mysteries within our universe. So where lies the core distinction between scientific hypotheses and science fiction? The core distinction lies in the fact that a scientific hypothesis must be rooted in existing, validated scientific theories. It must be describable in precise mathematical language. And the predictions it makes must, in principle, be testable through experiments or observations. Even if our current technology cannot yet perform such tests, the concept of parallel universes precisely meets these conditions. It is not a concept born out of thin air. Its roots are deeply embedded in two cornerstones of modern physics: quantum mechanics and cosmology. Let us retrace history. The seeds of parallel universe thinking can be traced back to the 1950s. Yet it was not initially mainstream. For a long time, it was even regarded as a heretical idea within physics, a taboo subject best left unsaid. Scientists proposed it not out of a desire to be unconventional, but because they discovered that without introducing the concept of parallel universes, certain existing, highly successful physical theories would encounter insurmountable interpretive obstacles, leading to logical inconsistencies. The first major theoretical source is quantum mechanics. Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation, which we will explore in detail later, which emerged precisely to resolve the famous measurement problem in quantum theory. Everett discovered that if one strictly follows the mathematical derivations of Schrödinger's equation, a quantum system should not collapse into a definite state after measurement, but instead enter a superposition state where all possible outcomes coexist simultaneously, including the observer themselves becoming part of this superposition, to explain why we observe only one definite outcome in reality. The many worlds interpretation proposes a boldest interpretation. It is not the wave function that collapses, but the universe that splits. Every possible outcome is realized in its own branch universe. This idea seemed so revolutionary at the time that Everett's doctoral thesis was met with indifference. He himself temporarily left academia. Crucially, his theory was grounded entirely in the standard mathematical framework of quantum mechanics. It introduced no additional collapse assumptions. Mathematically, it was rigorous and self-consistent. The second major theoretical source is modern cosmology, specifically inflationary theory. Inflationary theory successfully explains why our observed universe is so flat and uniform. It posits that the universe underwent an exponentially rapid expansion phase in its earliest moments after birth. Most versions of the inflation model point to a startling conclusion. Inflation may not have occurred just once. Could be an eternal process. Once begun, it would almost never cease. This implies that beyond our observable universe, inflation continues to unfold ceaselessly. It perpetually creates new regions of space-time. These regions, expanding faster than light, are forever beyond our reach. They become independent cosmic bubbles, with distinct physical constants and potentially different fundamental laws. This constitutes cosmological parallel universes, known as the inflationary multiverse, whether derived from quantum mechanics' infinite branching universes, or cosmology's infinitely expanding bubble networks. They all point in the same direction. Our universe may be merely an insignificant component within a far grander multiverse structure. Other universes do not reside in some distant galaxy. They may be right next to our spacetime, yet remain isolated from us due to the constraints of physical laws, like an impassable wall. At this point, you might ask, if we cannot observe them or communicate with them, what significance do these theories hold? Wouldn't this make them akin to philosophy or even religion? This is an excellent question, and one of the core issues in the philosophy of science. The value of a scientific hypothesis lies not solely in whether it can be proven today, but in whether it offers new testable predictions. deepens our understanding of existing theories, and whether it can open new avenues of research. The multiverse hypothesis exemplifies this. It compels physicists to consider problems from a broader perspective. It offers a potential explanation for the finely tuned physical constants in our universe, such as why gravity is precisely this strong and the electromagnetic force is precisely this weak. Perhaps the answer is simple. In an infinitely vast multiverse, there will always be universes where the constants are just right for life to emerge, and we happen to live in one of them. This is one formulation of the anthropic principle. Moreover, cutting-edge theoretical research is attempting to find indirect traces that parallel universes might leave behind, such as searching for scars in the cosmic microwave background radiation from collisions between our universe and others. While no conclusive evidence exists yet, it represents a scientific endeavor, an effort to push hypotheses toward testing. So the next time you hear the term parallel universe, I hope you'll distinguish it from your favorite sci-fi movie. It's no longer purely fantasy, but a frontier of science being seriously discussed. A bold attempt built upon the existing edifice of physics to explore the ultimate nature of reality. It may prove correct or incorrect, but its very conception and evolution embody the quintessence of scientific inquiry. In the following chapters, we shall temporarily set aside cosmology's grand narratives to delve into the uncanny laws governing the microscopic realm. Beginning with an electron and a ray of light, we shall understand how parallel universes emerge from the most fundamental physical phenomena. To grasp how parallel universes transition from mathematical formulas to potential realities, we must first enter a realm that seems familiar yet is utterly bizarre: quantum mechanics, which governs the behavior of atoms and subatomic particles. At this scale, all the reliable intuitions and experiences of our daily lives break down completely. Physicist Richard Feynman famously said, "I think I can safely say that nobody really understands quantum mechanics." This statement captures the core characteristic of the quantum world: its counterintuitive nature. The laws it describes clash with our macroscopic world, yet over the past century, it has withstood every single highly precise experimental test. It forms the theoretical foundation of modern electronics, laser technology, and even nuclear applications. Its correctness is beyond doubt, yet its meaning remains a subject of ongoing debate. So what exactly is so bizarre about quantum mechanics? Let's start with a fundamental concept. In classical physics, the world we know, an object state is always definite at any given moment. Take a coffee cup on your desk, for example. Is either on the left side of the table or on the right. Cannot exist in two places at once. Its color, shape, and mass are all clearly defined properties. You can describe it with precise numerical values. But in the quantum world, things are entirely different. A microscopic particle, like an electron or a photon, does not occupy a definite state. When you are not measuring it, it has no single fixed location. It has no definite velocity. More accurately, it exists in all possible states simultaneously. This wondrous state is called superposition in quantum mechanics. This concept defies common sense so profoundly that many great scientists, including Einstein, fiercely resisted it. To vividly reveal this uncanny property, physicist Erwin Schrödinger proposed a famous thought experiment in 1935, the renowned Schrödinger's cat. Let us construct this somewhat cruel yet profoundly insightful thought experiment. Imagine a sealed, opaque steel box. Inside the box are the following items: a tiny radioactive atom. This atom has a 50% probability of decaying within 1 hour. Simultaneously, it has a 50% probability of not decaying. This is a purely quantum random process. a Geiger counter which can detect whether the atom has decayed, a hammer connected to the Geiger counter, a vial of lethal cyanide gas, and finally a live cat. Now let's define the logic of this death mechanism. If the radioactive atom decays after 1 hour, the Geiger counter detects it, triggering a circuit that causes the hammer to shatter the poison vial. Cyanide gas floods the chamber, killing the cat instantly. If the atom does not decay, the Geiger counter will not trigger, the hammer will not fall, the poison vial remains intact. The cat continues to live. Now the crucial question arises. At the end of the hour, before we open the box to observe, what is the state of the cat inside? Based on our everyday experience, you would say without hesitation, the cat is either dead or alive. It must be one or the other, right? Though we don't know which outcome specifically. But in fact, there must be a definite result. Yet the core principle of quantum mechanics delivers a mind-boggling answer. Until the very instant the box is opened for observation, the cat is neither alive nor dead. It exists in a superposition state, simultaneously alive and dead. This answer sounds utterly absurd. How could a cat possibly be both alive and dead at the same time? This violates the most fundamental law of logic, the law of the excluded middle. An entity cannot simultaneously be A and not A. Yet, the mathematical description of quantum mechanics explicitly tells us that the entire system, including the atom, Geiger counter, hammer, poison vial, and cat, is described by a single wave function. This wave function contains a mixture of two possibilities. One wave representing atomic decay and the cat's death, and another where the atom does not decay and the cat survives. Both waves coexist and are coherent with each other. This is the true meaning of superposition. It is not that we do not know whether the cat is dead or alive. Rather, the cat's state of life or death is not physically determined. It is essentially a mixture of two possibilities. Only when an observer opens the box and takes that look does this superposition state instantly collapse. The wave function collapses. We then randomly obtain one definite outcome. Either we see a live cat lazily dozing, or we see a dead cat lying there. The power of this thought experiment lies in its amplification of the quantum weirdness of the microscopic world onto the macroscopic realm, making it impossible to ignore. Schrödinger himself proposed this experiment to satirize and challenge what he considered an absurd interpretation. He sought to demonstrate that applying quantum theory to macroscopic objects would yield absurd conclusions. Subsequent physicists, however, recognized that Schrödinger's cat precisely reveals the profound implications of quantum law's universality. Quantum superposition is not merely a theoretical mathematical game. It has been verified countless times in laboratories. One of the most direct proofs is the famous double-slit interference experiment. When we fire a single electron through two slits, something magical happens. Even when firing only one electron at a time, after a sufficiently long period, interference fringes, alternating bright and dark bands, appear on the screen behind the slits. These interference fringes are characteristic of waves. Just as water waves passing through two slits overlap to create interference, this implies that when a single electron traverses the slits, it does not choose either the left or right slit, but simultaneously passes through both, interfering with itself. Only when we place detectors at the slits to observe which path the electron took do the interference fringes vanish, and the electron's behavior becomes classical, passing through only one slit. This is the most direct manifestation of superposition and observation. Without observation, the electron exists in a superposition of passing through both slits. Upon observation, the superposition collapses, and it randomly selects one path. Now let us return to Schrödinger's cat and yourself. You might feel that cats and electrons are too distant from your life. But please think carefully. The decay of that radioactive atom determining the cat's fate is a purely quantum random event. And your brain, your thoughts, every decision you make ultimately stem from physical processes at the atomic and molecular levels within your body. These processes are fundamentally governed by quantum laws. Thus, a natural and profound question arises. If an electron state can exist in superposition, if a cat's fate can remain in a superposition of life and death, then might your choices, your consciousness, your very existence also follow similar principles at some level? When you stand at a crossroads in life, hesitating between turning left or right, from a quantum mechanical perspective, could you also be in a superposition state, both turning left and right at once? And that final act of observation that forces you to decide. That force that collapses you into a single reality. What exactly is it? Is it yourself? Or some greater cosmic mechanism? This is the ultimate question left to us by Schrödinger's cat. It is not merely an experiment about a cat's life or death. It is an allegory about the very nature of reality. It forces us to confront the most fundamental question. What is real? Is the reality we perceive as unshakable merely a moment crystallized from countless possibilities only at the instant of observation? Only by grasping this bizarre superposition in the microscopic realm can we lay the foundation for further exploration. Next, we'll witness how a physicist courageously embraced the strangeness and deduced an even more astonishing cosmic vision, a universe without collapse, only division. In the previous section, we found ourselves trapped in a bizarre room, confronted with a cat that was both dead and alive, and an unanswerable conundrum of reality. Quantum superposition seemed to lead us to a logical abyss. The act of observation itself played an enigmatic role, like an invisible hand instantly flattening a fuzzy probability cloud into a definite reality. But why does observation hold such privilege? Who is the legitimate observer? Does a fly buzzing through the room count as observation? What about an automatic camera? This question of measurement became quantum mechanics' deepest wound. A seemingly perfect theory harbored a fuzzy flaw at its very core. It was against this backdrop that a groundbreaking interpretation took center stage. Its proponent was a young physics PhD named Hugh Everett. At the time, he was pursuing his degree at Princeton University. Everett was dissatisfied with the mainstream Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics. Established by Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg, and others, this interpretation simply accepted the fact of wave function collapse, without clearly defining the precise moment or mechanism of collapse. Everett believed physics should be objective and universal, and should not depend on the vague concept of an observer. Thus, he chose the most radical path, and decided to place complete trust in mathematics, strictly following the mathematical derivation of the Schrödinger equation. He discovered that if both the observer and their measuring apparatus are considered part of a larger quantum system, the wave function of the entire system does not collapse during measurement. Instead, it evolves with certainty according to Schrödinger's equation. All possible outcomes are realized, but they branch into different universes. This is the core idea of the many worlds interpretation. Observation does not cause the wave function to collapse. Observation causes the universe to branch. The universe is like a constantly growing tree. Whenever a quantum event has multiple possible outcomes, this tree instantly sprouts a corresponding number of new branches. Each branch represents a wholly new yet equally real universe. Within these branches, all possible outcomes occur simultaneously. Let us return to the perplexing experiment of Schrödinger's cat. In Everett's framework, the situation becomes clear and profound. Before that sealed steel box, there exists no cat in a suspended state of superposition. At the critical moment when 1 hour elapses, when the outcome of the quantum process is amplified by a macroscopic device to an irreversible instant, the entire universe, including you within it, splits into two in an instant. This is not a metaphor but a literal description of the physical process. In the first universe, you open the box. You witness the radioactive atom decay as expected. The poison gas vial is shattered, and the cat is dead. You might feel a pang of sadness and regret. In another completely real, parallel universe born simultaneously, another you is experiencing the exact same moment of opening the box. But in this universe branch, that crucial atom happens not to decay. The Geiger counter remains silent, the hammer undisturbed, the poison vial intact. You see a living cat, perhaps lazily stretching. You breathe a sigh of relief, feeling fortunate. Both versions of you are real. Both universes are real. From the moment of divergence, they embark on independent futures, losing all physical connection to each other. Yet they coexist mathematically as equal entities. The cat, both dead and alive, vanishes. In its place emerge two distinct yet definite realities, and two versions of you who experience different outcomes. Everett's theory, with its astonishing simplicity and logical rigor, dispels the mystery of wave function collapse. It no longer requires a privileged observer. In the many worlds interpretation, all physical entities equally obey quantum mechanics. Your consciousness, your act of observation itself, is merely a complex physical process within the universe's vast wave function. When you make an observation, you do not create a single outcome. You merely split yourself into the universe branch corresponding to every possible result. In each branch, you are convinced you witnessed a uniquely determined outcome. They will never realize the existence of other branches, much less perceive that other self. This may sound like a fairy tale, but remember, it follows the mathematical derivation of Schrödinger's equation to the letter, without any superfluous assumptions. Everett completed his doctoral thesis in 1957, proposing this revolutionary perspective. Yet the physics community at the time was dominated by the Copenhagen interpretation. His theory was viewed by most physicists as extravagant and absurd, meeting near-unanimous dismissal and ridicule. The renowned physicist John Wheeler, Everett's former advisor, initially supported him but later retreated under academic pressure. Everett's thesis was heavily edited, and his ideas fell into near obscurity for nearly 2 decades. Disheartened, he left academia to pursue defense, consulting, and computer work. It wasn't until the 1970s and 1980s that, with the revival of cosmology and fundamental research in quantum mechanics, a new generation of physicists, including Brads and David Deutsch, rediscovered and developed the many worlds interpretation. They recognized that this theory might not be crazy, but rather the most natural and mathematically logical interpretation. Today, the many worlds interpretation has become a significant mainstream school of thought in the foundational explanations of quantum mechanics. Despite lingering controversies, an increasing number of theoretical physicists are inclined to accept it, as it avoids the unsettling collapse hypothesis and portrays the entire physical world as a unified, objective existence. Now, bring this idea closer to your own life. Every time you face a binary choice, every time you flip a coin, every time a quantum process generates a photon on your retina, according to the many worlds interpretation, the universe may be undergoing such a branching. All those decisions in your life you deeply regret, all those paths you never took, may not vanish into nothingness, but are being experienced by another you in a parallel reality. This offers an unprecedented, grand perspective for understanding our place in the universe. If the universe is constantly splitting, where does the energy and matter come from? How can such a theory be verified? These are profound and legitimate questions. We will explore these challenges in subsequent chapters. But regardless, Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation has fundamentally transformed how we think about the nature of reality. It tells us the universe may be far more diverse and vibrant than our wildest imaginations could conceive. Now let us temporarily set aside that cat, both dead and alive. Let us also move away from the laboratory's intricate double-slit interference apparatus. We shift our gaze from microscopic particles to ourselves, to our lives filled with choices and diverging paths. You might feel quantum mechanics describes events in another world, unrelated to your joys and sorrows, your dreams and regrets. But if we take Everett's many worlds interpretation seriously, a thrilling implication emerges. Quantum processes are everywhere. They exist not only in physics laboratories, but in every cell of your body, in every transmission of neural signals, in the instant your retina perceives a photon, at the core of countless chemical reactions in your brain, and the randomness at critical junctures of these processes. Could it be the very starting point of those divergences in your life's path? Let's envision several familiar scenes from your life. The first scenario is a pivotal moment experienced by countless young Chinese people, filling out college applications. Remember that agonizing summer? Several application forms lay before you. Your pen hesitated between University A and University B. One in the north, renowned for rigorous engineering. The other in the south, celebrated for its free academic atmosphere. Your inner self weighed and wrestled endlessly. Finally, on the eve of the deadline, you gritted your teeth and checked the box for University A. From then on, you headed north for your studies, met your current roommate and partner, entered your current industry, and built the social circle you have today. But from the perspective of the multiverse interpretation, what happened in that moment? The instant your pen touched the paper, the universe did not uniquely determine your path to University A. Quite the opposite. At that critical juncture of decision, the universe split in two. In one branch, as we know now, you entered University A. Yet, in another parallel universe born simultaneously, another you made the opposite choice. He wrote down University B on his application. He headed south. He entered a completely different campus. He met a completely different group of people. He might have studied another major. He might be pursuing a different career. He might even have settled in another city. From that moment on, his life's trajectory diverged from yours. The second scenario might be more intimate and emotionally resonant. That one time, that youthful and courageous confession. Do you remember that person? Do you recall that fiery yet anxious feeling in your heart? You rehearsed your opening lines countless times in your mind, yet backed down at the crucial moment. Finally, on a night when the stars shone brightly, you mustered all your courage and stepped before that person to speak the words long held captive in your heart. The outcome might have been perfect, or it might have been regretful. But according to the many worlds interpretation, in that very instant when your heart raced and the words were about to leave your lips, the universe split once more. In one universe, you spoke the words you longed to say. You might have found happiness together, or perhaps parted ways after a brief romance. But in another universe, you held back. You buried those words deep within your heart forever. You passed each other by, becoming mere passers-by in each other's lives. In that parallel universe, you might have met someone else later. Or perhaps you remained single. His life took a parallel path because of that moment of silence. Such examples could be listed endlessly. Which job offer you decide to accept. Which moment you choose to turn back and glance one more time. Which intersection you choose to turn at. Even whether you opt for steamed buns or fried dough sticks for breakfast. Behind every seemingly insignificant choice lies the potential for quantum-level randomness, each amplified by microscopic uncertainty, triggering the fragmentation of entire universes. This is the deepest connection between the many worlds interpretation and each of us. It elevates you from a passive participant in life's narrative to an active creator of new universes. Each choice you make doesn't merely influence your future path. In a profound sense, it actually creates another path, and another you walking that alternate path. Those what-ifs you endlessly imagine in the dead of night. Those alternative lives you've hypothesized countless times. They may not exist solely within your imagination. They could physically exist in another universe bubble, isolated from yours. Another you is tangibly experiencing the life you've always wondered about. He became the painter for you. He stayed in your hometown for you. He traveled the world for you. He held onto that dream, crushed by reality, for you. The shockwaves from this perspective are unparalleled. It transforms our life's landscape from a single linear path into a vast, sprawling forest of possibilities. Of course, we must cautiously reiterate, this remains a scientific hypothesis. We cannot verify the existence of those split-off universes. Yet, as a conceptual framework, it profoundly expands our understanding of self and possibility. It tells us the reality you perceive may be but a minuscule fragment of a grander truth. What you deem lost or missed may be experienced in another dimension, in another form. Understanding this brings a unique comfort and liberation. But this is merely the beginning of the story. The multiverse created by quantum branching is recent, based on our choices. Yet, on a cosmological scale, a more fundamental, inevitable mechanism exists. It ensures you are not just one, nor even a finite number born of branching. In an infinite universe, your existence is a mathematical necessity. This is the grander picture we shall now explore. After the mind-bending discussions on quantum superposition and cosmic forking, you may have grasped the conceptual framework of the many worlds interpretation. Yet the image of an endlessly splitting universe remains abstract and elusive. What does it truly look like? How do these parallel universes coexist? To render this grand vision more vividly before your eyes, we need a powerful and intuitive metaphor, a bridge that transforms complex mathematical concepts into mental images. A classic metaphor widely used in cosmology and physics emerges: the soap bubble analogy. Imagine you're holding a bubble-blowing toy. You gently blow a large cluster of soap bubbles. This entire cluster of bubbles represents the entire multiverse, that boundless, ultimate reality containing all possibilities. Now focus your attention on one individual soap bubble floating among them. This bubble possesses a complete spherical surface. Its interior forms a self-contained world, with clear boundaries separating it from other bubbles. This single soap bubble is our universe. Everything we know, stars, galaxies, even ourselves, exists on the surface or within this bubble's membrane. According to inflationary cosmology, our universe emerged from an infinitesimal region of spacetime and rapidly expanded like a blown bubble through inflation. Thus, every cosmic bubble originates from an inflationary event. Now comes the crucial step. Observe the entire cluster of bubbles closely. You'll discover countless soap bubbles of varying sizes and shapes floating within it. Some are close together, others far apart. They may exhibit slightly different colors and reflections. Each of these individual soap bubbles represents a separate universe. They are all members of that larger multiverse collection. This is the most vivid depiction of parallel universes. They are not stacked one above the other, nor arranged in a linear sequence. They exist like the countless bubbles within this foam cluster, coexisting yet entirely independent. Now let's connect this metaphor to the two parallel universe mechanisms discussed earlier. First, parallel universes arising from quantum fission. This resembles a small bubble suddenly protruding from the surface of one soap bubble. This bubble rapidly expands and grows, eventually detaching from its parent bubble. It forms a brand new yet highly similar daughter bubble. This process vividly illustrates Everett's universe branching. Whenever a quantum choice occurs, our cosmic bubble divides like an amoeba, spawning a small branch, which rapidly grows into a new, equally real cosmic bubble, joining the endless ocean of bubbles around it. Every critical choice you make in life creates a new universe that separates from your primary cosmic bubble in this manner, drifting into the depths of the multiverse. Second are the primordial parallel universes predicted by eternal inflation. They are like other bubbles present within that foam from the very beginning. They may be as large as our bubble or even larger. They may have emerged simultaneously with our bubble, or earlier or later. They may possess the exact same physical laws as our universe. Or they may have radically different physical constants due to minute variations in the inflationary field, such as slightly stronger gravity or a slower speed of light. These cosmic bubbles have been independent of ours since the beginning. They represent different possibilities at the cosmic level. Now engrave this metaphor deeply in your mind. We inhabit a specific soap bubble. Everything we can observe, including the 93 billion light-year observable universe, is merely the structure within our soap bubble. Beyond our bubble lies an unfathomable ocean of foam, a vast expanse we cannot touch or observe. Within it exist countless other universes. Some bubble universes contain individuals nearly identical to you. These are close relative universes born from quantum fission. Others hold versions of you with similar appearances but subtly different physical laws. These are distant relative universes born in eternal inflation. Still others may contain no version of you at all. Their physical laws might not even permit the formation of atoms or stars, perhaps only chaos or utter stillness. This soap bubble analogy allows us to intuitively grasp that parallel universes are not distant fairy tales. They may exist like bubbles floating beside us, part of the multiverse's layered structure. We are imprisoned within our own bubbles, unable to breach the membrane of the cosmic horizon to touch another bubble. Yet this does not prevent us from acknowledging the grandeur of that ocean of foam in our minds. The next time you see a child blowing soap bubbles dancing in the sunlight, may you too smile knowingly. That fleeting, beautiful bubble may well be a tiny microcosm of our universe's ultimate vision. A sea of bubbles, endlessly expanding and birthing, holding infinite possibilities. And each of us is a unique, radiant spark. Upon one of those bubbles, we've just concluded an expedition deep into the microscopic realm, where we witnessed how quantum mechanics, through infinite branching, creates countless parallel realities, close yet unreachable. The versions of you split off by each choice echo like shadows in your own multiverse, similar yet diverging at pivotal junctures. Yet this quantum-painted panorama, vast as it is, still carries a subjective hue driven by our own choices. The multiverse it creates resembles a fractal tree unfolding around our personal histories. Now let us shift our gaze from this tree of individual possibilities and elevate our perspective to unprecedented heights. Let us momentarily set aside the superposition of electrons and cats to contemplate the boundless cosmos itself. We will transition from the bizarre laws of the microscopic realm to the pure scale of the macrocosm. This marks a fundamental shift in perspective. We no longer focus solely on how the universe branches due to our present choices, but instead explore the most fundamental attributes and scale of the universe itself. Does it inherently contain the inevitability of replicating you and me? The quantum many-worlds interpretation tells us the number of universes may be infinite, as it continuously branches along a temporal dimension. But if the single universe we inhabit is itself spatially infinite, then a far more staggering possibility emerges. This possibility does not rely on uncertain quantum choices, but rests upon more solid foundations of cosmological observations and mathematical necessity. This marks the second chapter of our exploration. We will leave behind that ever-splitting tree of time and enter an eternally expanding sea of infinite space. The cosmic landscape modern cosmology paints for us is vastly grander than what meets the naked eye. When we speak of the universe, we typically refer to our observable universe, that sphere centered on us with a radius of approximately 46.5 billion light-years, the farthest light born since the universe's inception could reach us. Yet this does not imply the universe's edge lies 46.5 billion light-years away. It merely marks the limit of our vision constrained by the speed of light. Much like a sailor on the vast ocean who can only see the limited expanse of water bounded by the horizon. Our true universe, this ocean, may be vastly more expansive than what we perceive. In fact, current mainstream cosmological models all point to one conclusion. The universe we inhabit is likely spatially flat. And according to predictions from inflationary theory, our cosmic bubble is highly probable to be infinitely large in its entirety. An infinitely large universe. This very idea demands immense imagination. It implies that no matter which direction you travel, you will never encounter a wall bearing the words "no exit." Space extends endlessly, boundless, limitless, eternal, and infinite. On this infinite stage, matter and energy are not uniformly distributed throughout every corner. Instead, they form a web-like structure between vast superclusters and cosmic voids. Yet, when leading cosmologists scale their observations far beyond the observable universe, they believe matter distribution is uniform on large scales, meaning the universe appears largely identical everywhere within sufficiently vast fields of view, governed by the same fundamental physical laws and constants. Now combine these two key points, an infinitely vast space, paired with uniformly distributed matter on large scales. This leads to a mathematically inevitable, logically unassailable conclusion. A conclusion that points directly to the existence of another you. Not a possibility, but a necessity. To grasp this conclusion, we first need an ancient and fascinating thought experiment. The infinite Monkey Theorem. It becomes the key to understanding necessity within an infinite universe, guiding us into a grand narrative more undeniable than quantum duplication. Before exploring how an infinite universe inevitably creates another you, we need a key to unlock the magic inherent in the concept of infinity itself. This key is an ancient and captivating thought experiment, known as the infinite Monkey Theorem. The theory's description sounds like an absurd joke. It posits a special room, where one or countless monkeys sit, each facing a typewriter, equipped only with letter keys and a spacebar. Assuming these monkeys know neither grammar nor literature, they merely type at random. The core conclusion of the infinite Monkey Theorem is this. Given infinite time, these monkeys will almost certainly, at some point, type out the complete works of Shakespeare word for word. Not just one play like Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet, but every single one of his plays and sonnets. Your first reaction upon hearing this theory might be to laugh out loud, thinking it utterly preposterous. How could monkeys possibly produce such structurally intricate and profoundly meaningful literary works? It sounds more like a philosophical joke than a serious mathematical proposition. But set aside your skepticism for now. Let's dissect the unshakable logical core behind this theory step by step. The purpose of this thought experiment isn't to actually train monkeys as typists. Rather, it's used to illustrate a profound principle about probability theory and infinity. That principle is this: in a system with infinite time or infinite opportunities for attempts, any event with non-zero probability, no matter how improbable it may seem, will approach an infinite probability of 100%. In other words, it will almost certainly occur. Let's deconstruct the monkey typing scenario. First, consider a typewriter. Suppose it has only 26 letter keys and a space bar. Each keystroke offers 27 possible choices. The probability of typing any single letter is 1 in 27. What is the probability of typing any specific two-letter word, such as B? It is the probability of hitting B on the first keystroke, multiplied by the probability of hitting E on the second keystroke. The result is 1/27 superscript 2. This probability is already very small, but it is not zero. Now let's calculate the probability of the monkey typing Shakespeare's famous opening line, "To be or not to be." This phrase contains 13 distinct characters excluding spaces. Each character must be typed precisely. The probability of producing this specific sequence of characters is 1/27 raised to the power of 13. This is an astronomically large number with an unimaginably huge denominator. But the crucial point is that it remains a finite number. It is not equal to zero. As long as the probability is not zero, even if it is as small as searching for a specific grain of sand in the Pacific Ocean, given infinite attempts, that grain of sand is almost guaranteed to be found. For the word infinite possesses an overwhelming power in mathematics. Over the infinite river of time, monkeys can type out infinitely long random strings. Within this infinite sequence, every possible finite-length character combination must be contained. This naturally includes the complete works of Shakespeare, as well as those of Dickens, Hemingway, and even the full text of that WeChat post you wrote yesterday. To help you grasp the power of infinity, let's elevate our thinking. Imagine an infinitely vast library, a metaphor borrowed from Borges' The Library of Babel. Every book in this library consists of random letter sequences, encompassing every conceivable combination of letters and spaces. Most shelves hold meaningless gibberish. For instance, a page filled with astvshkal, or countless jumbled variations of the, yet within this near-infinite sea of meaningless texts, given infinite time to search, you are destined to find a book composed entirely of the precise words of war and peace. You would also find an autobiography chronicling every experience from your birth to this very moment. You would even discover a prophecy book that precisely foretells the world's history for the next 10,000 years. All these valuable books exist somewhere within this library, because each is one of the infinite possible letter combinations. An infinite space accommodates all these possibilities. Now let us shift our gaze from monkeys and libraries back to our universe. The greatest insight the infinite monkey theorem offers us is this: infinity plus randomness equals the realization of all possibilities. This is a mathematical inevitability. It cares not whether the process involves monkeys typing or atoms randomly colliding. It cares only whether the probability is non-zero and whether the opportunities are infinite. If opportunities are infinite, then every event with non-zero probability is destined to occur, and it will occur countless times. This is the crucial logical springboard for understanding whether another you exists in the universe. If our universe is spatially infinite, and the fundamental configurations of matter are finite, then upon this infinite stage, all possible arrangements of matter, including the precise atomic arrangement constituting your body, must inevitably repeat in infinite locations. Just as monkeys will inevitably type Shakespeare, so too will an infinite universe precisely replicate you, in some corner, along with this very moment you are reading this sentence. This inference is not a poet's romantic fantasy, but the cold verdict of mathematical logic. It tells us that the existence of another you is not a debatable possibility, but an inevitable necessity under given premises. Armed with this powerful logical tool, we can now formally enter the infinite stage of our universe, to observe how matter and laws there orchestrate this inevitable miracle of replication. Now that we hold the key of the infinite Monkey Theorem, and comprehend the magic inherent in infinity itself, the power to create all possibilities, we must examine a crucial question. Does our universe truly provide such an infinite stage? The answer to this question will directly determine whether another you exists as a mathematical certainty or merely as a beautiful fantasy. The cosmic picture modern cosmology paints for us grows ever clearer, and all clues point toward an awe-inspiring conclusion. The universe we inhabit is likely spatially infinite. This conclusion is not mere conjecture, but rests upon decades of precise observations and robust theoretical foundations. Let us begin with the most direct observational evidence. When we gaze at the night sky, the faintest light we perceive originates from the afterglow of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background radiation. This snapshot of the infant universe stands as one of cosmology's most precious observational treasures. By analyzing the minute fluctuations in this cosmic map, scientists can deduce the overall geometry of the universe. Three fundamental possibilities exist for the universe's geometry. It could be a closed, positively curved space like a sphere, an open, negatively curved space resembling a saddle, or the flat, zero-curvature space we are most familiar with. The crucial question is, which category does our universe fall into? Multiple independent, high-precision observation projects, particularly the Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe, WMAP, and the Planck satellite, have conducted repeated measurements of the cosmic microwave background radiation. Their conclusions are highly consistent. Our universe is flat to observable precision, or extremely close to absolute flatness. This flatness is a crucial discovery, because in a universe governed by Einstein's general relativity, the geometry of space is directly related to the density of matter and energy in the universe. A flat universe implies its total energy density precisely equals a critical value, neither more nor less. Now let's integrate this with theories of cosmic origins. The most successful early universe model today is inflation theory. This theory posits that during an extremely brief period after the universe's birth, roughly between 10 superscript 3 seconds and 10 superscript 3 superscript 2 seconds, the universe underwent an exponentially rapid expansion phase. In this instant, a region of subatomic scale was stretched to a size vastly exceeding our observable universe. The theory of inflation nearly perfectly explains why our observed universe is so uniform and flat, and where the primordial seeds for the structure of galaxies in the universe originated. So how does the theory of inflation point to the infinity of the universe? Most reasonable inflation models predict that once inflation begins, it is difficult for it to stop completely and uniformly everywhere at once. Inflation would end in some regions while continuing in others. This is akin to a pot of boiling water where bubbles continuously form and expand within it. Our entire observable universe may be just one of the cosmic bubbles formed after inflation ended. Beyond our bubble, inflation continues to this day, constantly creating new regions of spacetime. These regions, expanding faster than light, become permanently causally disconnected from us. They become independent universes. From this eternal inflationary perspective, our own cosmic bubble is likely infinite in size itself. The initial inflationary process stretched it to unimaginable dimensions. Even without considering the complex eternal inflation scenario, simply extrapolating from our measured cosmic flatness and current accelerated expansion. The simplest extrapolation from the standard cosmological model strongly suggests our universe is infinite. We observe no signs of spatial curvature, and the accelerating expansion causes distant galaxies to recede faster than light. This means the observable portion of our universe will only shrink in the future, and we have permanently lost contact with most regions of the cosmic whole. Now imagine this infinite universe. It's not that you could board a faster-than-light spacecraft, travel to the other side, and return, like playing a game on a sphere. In a flat, infinite universe, if you travel in one direction, you will never return to your starting point. You will encounter an endless succession of new galaxies, new stars, new planets. Space extends on and on without boundaries or end. This transcends the scope of our everyday experience. Yet both mathematics and physics point unequivocally to this conclusion. How, then, are matter and energy distributed within this infinite universe? On vast scales, spanning hundreds of millions of light years, the observed universe exhibits a web-like structure. It features colossal galactic walls and immense voids. Yet, when leading cosmologists extend their observational scale far beyond the observable universe, they rely on the cosmological principle to assert that on sufficiently large scales, the universe is uniform and isotropic. This implies that from a sufficiently macrocosmic, God's eye perspective, the universe appears largely identical everywhere, governed by the same fundamental physical laws and constants. The distribution of galaxies and galaxy clusters is statistically uniform. There is no scenario where one direction contains an abundance of matter while another is entirely void. Now, combine these two foundational concepts: an infinitely vast space, filled with matter and energy distributed uniformly on large scales, and physical laws that are identical everywhere. This resembles an infinitely large canvas, painted with a finite set of colors in a random yet uniform manner. The canvas is so vast it surpasses any human imagination. The pigments represent the fundamental particles composing matter. Their types are finite. Their modes of interaction are finite. Thus, on this infinite canvas, the finite combinations of pigments must repeat themselves over and over. They cannot fail to repeat, for the canvas is infinite, and while the number of unique patterns possible is astronomical, it remains finite. This is the universe deduced from cosmological observations and theory, an infinitely extending, eternal sea. Each of us, everything we know, is but an insignificant drop in this ocean. We are confined within our observable universe, this tiny bubble, forever unable to perceive the vast world beyond its surface. Yet the logic of mathematics and physics tells us that vast world exists, and because of its infinity, it must contain every possible arrangement of matter. This includes an individual whose atomic structure is identical to yours. In the next section, we will perform a simple calculation to demonstrate why, in such an infinite universe, the existence of another you is not a matter of probability, but a mathematical certainty. Just as an infinite number of monkeys will eventually type Shakespeare, an infinite universe will inevitably replicate you. We now stand at a decisive logical juncture, holding two solid cornerstones in our hands. One is the profound principle taught by the infinite Monkey Theorem. In infinite attempts, any possible event must inevitably occur. The other is the grand stage provided by modern cosmology, a universe extending infinitely in space with uniformly distributed matter. Now we will fit these two cornerstones together seamlessly to derive a stunning conclusion about your own existence. The core of this derivation lies in understanding the dialectical relationship between finite and infinite. First, we must accept a fundamental fact. The basic combinations of matter that compose you and me, though astronomically vast, are mathematically finite. Let us perform a conceptual quantification. You are a complex system composed of atoms. A typical adult human body contains approximately 10 to the power of 28 atoms, a number represented by 1 followed by 28 zeros. It is a number so vast it defies intuitive grasp. Yet, regardless, it remains finite. These atoms are primarily hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and a few other elements. They bond chemically to form molecules. Molecules assemble into cells. Cells build tissues and organs. Ultimately, they form the unique being that is you. Now, the question arises, how many possible arrangements of atoms could have formed this specific individual, you? In other words, how many distinct combinations of atomic arrangements exist in the universe that could precisely replicate your consciousness and physical form? This quantity is also astronomical, yet it remains finite. We can grasp this concept through a simple analogy. Imagine a massive set of Lego bricks. The types of pieces are finite, say 50 different shapes and colors. Now you are given 1,000 such bricks and asked to freely build a model. The number of unique models you can create is enormous, but it is finite because the types and total number of pieces limit the possible outcomes. Your body is precisely such an extremely complex Lego model constructed from a finite set of atoms. From a physical perspective, your bodily structure, the connections between every neuron in your brain, and every detail stored in your memory can each be viewed as a specific arrangement of matter. The collection of such states, though vast beyond imagination, has an upper limit. It is a finite number. Now let us introduce the second element, infinite space. Based on our previous discussion, the bubble universe we inhabit is, as a whole, infinitely large. Within this infinite space, matter and energy are uniformly distributed on large scales. This means that within sufficiently large volumes, the fundamental constituents of the universe are identical. The laws of physics are also consistent. It is akin to an infinitely large canvas upon which Lego pieces are randomly yet uniformly distributed. Now, let us examine finiteness and infinity together. We have a finite number n, representing the total number of possible atomic arrangements in the universe that could precisely match your current physical and mental state. We have infinite space, providing an infinite number of independent regions for matter to randomly assemble. In an infinitely large universe, no matter how low the probability of a specific atomic arrangement may be, as long as that probability is not zero, that arrangement must occur. And because space is infinite, it will occur countless times. This is analogous to the inevitability of monkeys typing the complete works of Shakespeare in the infinite Monkey Theorem. In an infinite universe, the random process assembling your specific atomic structure is equally inevitable. We can grasp this through a simpler mathematical model. Imagine a giant die with n faces. Each face corresponds to a possible atomic arrangement for a human body. One of these faces corresponds precisely to you. Now, you roll this die once in every possible region of the infinite universe. Because the universe is infinite, you have infinite opportunities to roll. Therefore, the probability of rolling your specific face, no matter how incredibly small, is destined to occur. And it will occur infinitely many times. This inference is a mathematical necessity. It is the direct result of logical reasoning. Thus, we arrive at the core conclusion of this section. In an infinitely vast universe, somewhere in the distant reaches there must exist an individual with an atomic arrangement identical to yours. That is another you. He is not merely physically similar to you. He possesses exactly the same memories, exactly the same personality. And at this very moment, he may even be experiencing thoughts identical to yours. because the atomic structure of his brain is identical to yours at this instant. What is even more astonishing is that, because the universe is infinite, there is not just one such you, but infinitely many. They are scattered across the infinite depths of the cosmos. Just as the number of grains of sand on a beach is finite, but the beach itself, the universe, is infinite. Therefore, any finite pattern will repeat infinitely many times. Now take a deep breath. Try to accept the immense impact of this conclusion. In some corner of the universe, there is another you. He might be sitting in a similar room, watching a similar science video, filled with the same astonishment and confusion. He shares your exact starting point in life, the identical childhood memories and growth experiences. At the atomic level, he is you. This is the cold, certain conclusion derived from infinite space and finite arrangements. The existence of another you is not a philosophical possibility, but an inevitable outcome within the framework of mathematics and logic. Of course, you might immediately question, if atomic sequences are identical, does that mean our destinies are entirely predetermined? If another me is doing exactly what I'm doing right now, where does that leave so-called free will? This is a profoundly deep question. We'll later explore how minute differences lead to vast divergences. But for now, we must first accept this foundational conclusion. In an infinite universe, a replica with an atomically identical sequence to yours is inevitably present. This perspective places our individual uniqueness in an entirely new light. It reveals that the self you perceive as singular and unique may, on the cosmic scale, be merely a highly specific repetition pattern. Yet this does not diminish our value. On the contrary, it unveils the profound depth and richness of the universe's structure. It signifies that each of us is an extraordinarily precious, ordered arrangement of cosmic matter. And this form, due to the infinite nature of the universe, is endowed with a certain kind of eternity, because it is realized in infinitely many places. Now that we have established the inevitability of another you existing, we shall next observe what wondrous and intricate evolution unfolds. When the slightest flaw appears in this perfect replication, it will be a landscape of infinitely rich lives driven by minute differences. We have just established a fact both comforting and unsettling. In the depths of the infinite cosmos exists a duplicate whose atomic arrangement matches yours perfectly. You are the same physical entity existing simultaneously across different space-time coordinates. Yet this perfect replication represents an extremely idealized mathematical limit. Much like in the infinite Monkey Theorem, where monkeys not only produce Shakespeare, but also countless versions differing by a single letter from his works. Upon the infinite tapestry of the cosmos, beyond the threads that are your exact duplicate, countless variants weave, almost identical, differing only by minute variations. These near-identical versions of you form a nebula of possibilities surrounding your perfect prototype. They are the most vibrant and diverse group within the multiverse. Now, let us imagine how these minute differences might arise. Perhaps in one universe, a carbon atom in your hair possesses a nuclear spin direction opposite to ours. This difference is physically negligible, altering no chemical properties whatsoever. Yet it might cause that single strand to grow 1 millimeter off course. Or perhaps at the moment of your mother's conception, a cosmic ray particle struck a specific DNA molecule, triggering an infinitesimal mutation. This mutation might not alter any protein sequence, but merely tweak the timing of gene expression, making you 1% more sensitive to bitterness than you are now. Such differences are so minuscule at birth that your counterpart in that parallel universe retains 99% of your appearance and memories. You might follow nearly identical life trajectories in your early years. Yet the universe is a complex, chaotic system. Minor variations in initial conditions can amplify exponentially over time. This is the famous butterfly effect. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could potentially trigger a tornado in Texas. So what life-altering storms might that 1 millimeter difference in your hair or that 1% increase in taste sensitivity unleash? Let us sketch a few possible scenarios. Imagine the you with hair 1 millimeter shorter. On a breezy afternoon, he walks down that street you know so well. When the wind blows, that millimeter of shorter hair doesn't get blown into his eyes like your longer hair would. So he doesn't instinctively raise his hand to rub his eyes and stop in his tracks. In that very second, he doesn't pause. A bicycle that would have brushed past you instead zooms past him. This tiny shift in rhythm puts him 2 seconds ahead of your timeline. Those 2 seconds allow him to cross the street before the green light fades. Meanwhile, in this universe, you miss the green light because of your eye-rubbing pause. You must wait an extra minute. In that minute, you happen to glance up and notice the advertisement for the new bakery on the corner. The next day, you went to try it while he missed out. Your lives diverged for the first time over breakfast preferences. Now imagine that you, with your different taste sensitivity, at a friend's gathering when someone handed him a beer, he perceived the bitterness just a touch more intensely than you did. This made him not fall in love with the taste of beer like you did. Consequently, his social engagements later centered more around tea houses or cafes. In a cafe, he met a future partner who also disliked alcohol. Meanwhile, you met your significant other in a bar. Your social circles, career paths, and even the cities where you ultimately settled might have diverged entirely because of this. These examples could extend infinitely. A single electronic quantum leap might alter the precise timing of a neural signal, causing a subtle deviation in your intuitive judgment at a pivotal moment. You might hesitate slightly more, or lack a touch of confidence when answering a question during a crucial interview than your counterpart in another universe, thus missing out on your dream job. That more confident version of you might consequently embark on a completely different career path. These nearly identical versions of you form an infinite spectrum, from the you whose hair is just 1 millimeter shorter, to the you whose musical tastes diverged due to a minor mutation, to the you who made opposite pivotal decisions at critical historical junctures. They all exist authentically in some corner of the infinite multiverse, experiencing lives utterly distinct, blossoming from that initial, seemingly insignificant difference. This picture reveals that life trajectories exhibit extreme sensitivity to initial conditions. The state of life we inhabit at this moment is the result of countless imperceptibly small coincidences layered upon one another. Fragile as a sandcastle, the slightest shift in the wind could alter its form, yet resilient as life itself, carving out its unique path through endless chance. Understanding this, we might hold a deeper reverence for our own existence and embrace the unknown with greater serenity. For every minute choice, every fortuitous encounter, is not merely about the present moment, it shapes a unique branch of the universe. And the you that ultimately materializes among countless possibilities is the river of life, formed by the convergence of all these tiny ripples, surging ever forward. Having sketched all possible versions of you across infinite universes, let us first focus on the most singular, most fundamental possibility, the you that is perfectly synchronized with you. This is the most extreme and yet most fundamental of all possibilities. It strictly adheres to the mathematical inevitability we discussed earlier. In some distant corner of the infinite cosmos, there exists a universe. From the very first physical processes of the Big Bang, every quantum fluctuation, every formation and evolution of galaxies, to the emergence of life on Earth and the relentless march of human history, maintains absolute, precise consistency. with the history of the universe you inhabit. Within this universe lies a planet, whose rotational speed, the contours of its continents, and the surging waves of its oceans are indistinguishable from those of the earth beneath your feet. On this planet exists a nation, a city, a neighborhood, and even a space identical to the room you occupy at this very moment. Within this space exists another you. He is not your replica, nor your substitute. In the strictest sense of physics, he is you. Every atom within his body, his type, position, and state of motion, corresponds perfectly to the arrangement of atoms in your own body. Every synaptic connection between neurons in his brain, every electrochemical signal flowing through them, synchronizes flawlessly with your current brain activity. This means he possesses the exact same river of memories as you. From childhood afternoons chasing dragonflies in the backyard, to that blushing, heart-racing encounter during adolescence, to nights spent striving tirelessly toward a goal. Every detail of these memories is perfectly preserved within his mind. He possesses the exact same knowledge structure, personality traits, and emotional patterns as you. You love the earthy scent of rain, and so does he. You dread the sharp sound of arguments, and he feels the same discomfort. You hold a unique perspective on a historical event, and he believes it just as firmly. Even at this very moment, he sits in an identical posture, on a similar chair, using a comparable device, watching a science video with exactly the same content. When the narrator in the video proposes that theory about parallel universes, his brow furrows just as yours would. His heart brims with the same wonder and the same doubt as yours. He too ponders. Is this real? He too struggles to grasp the profound meaning of the many worlds interpretation and infinite universes. His train of thought follows yours like a shadow. Every flash of insight, every moment of confusion perfectly aligns. You are like the same melody playing simultaneously through two different speakers. Pitch, rhythm, and emotion matching flawlessly. How long will this synchrony last? Theoretically, if two universes share identical initial conditions and physical laws, and face no external interference, this synchronization could persist indefinitely. You would feel hunger at precisely the same moment and choose identical foods. You would fall asleep at the exact same time and dream the same dreams. You would encounter the same people tomorrow morning and utter the same words. Your lives would stretch toward the future like two parallel rails, curving with absolute precision. The existence of this perfectly synchronized you is the ultimate embodiment of the universe's infinity and the determinism of physical laws. It feels like an eternal echo, echoing your existence endlessly in the cosmic abyss. Yet within reality's intricate tapestry, such absolute synchronization proves exceedingly difficult to sustain forever. Like a perfect pendulum, it will eventually lose its rhythm due to the slightest air resistance. Perhaps in the next instant, a background photon from the depths of the universe strikes his retina at a different angle, and the angle of the photon striking yours is slightly different. This nearly immeasurable difference might stir an imperceptible ripple in your minds, and thus begin the process of two perfectly synchronized lives gradually diverging. But before that, in that fleeting moment of perfect synchronization, you together formed the most wondrous mirror image in the universe. The existence of this image brings profound solace, for it signifies that your current sense of loneliness is but an illusion. Amidst the vastness of time and space, you are not alone in experiencing this existence. Every feeling, every thought you have finds perfect resonance elsewhere. It also brings a philosophical shock. It challenges our ingrained notions of uniqueness. We often believe the self is absolutely unique and irreplicable, but physics tells us that on infinite scales, even the most complex structures of consciousness may be a repeatable pattern. Yet most crucially, the existence of this perfectly synchronized version of you underscores the significance of your present self. For no matter how many synchronized versions of you exist in distant realms, you irreplaceably experience the life belonging to this particular branch of your universe. You are the sole possibility perceivable by this consciousness. Understanding the existence of your perfectly synchronized counterpart is like establishing a coordinate origin. From this origin, we shall now set out to explore those versions of you whose lives diverged entirely due to choices minor or monumental. Now let us shift our gaze away from that perfectly synchronized mirror image and step into a vaster, more majestic ocean of possibility. Here, the versions of you we encounter are no longer flawless replicas. They are the variations of your life, travelers on the paths you did not choose. Their existence stems from those pivotal crossroads in your journey, moments of decision that still make your heart race or ache faintly when recalled. According to the many worlds interpretation, at the instant of every major choice you make, the universe splits into corresponding branches. In these branches, another you embarks on the path you can only gaze upon from afar. First, let us meet the you who held onto your dreams. Do you remember the fire that burned in your heart when you were young? Perhaps it was the exhilaration of brushstrokes dancing across paper. Perhaps it was the melody flowing from your fingertips on an instrument. Perhaps it was the intoxication of crafting stories beneath the night lamp. But in the face of practical considerations, in this branch of the universe where you and I exist, you may have carefully tucked away that passion, choosing a safer, more conventional path. Yet in another universe, the story unfolds differently. During that fateful family meeting, your inner voice remained unwavering. Defying expectations, you replaced finance or engineering, your parents' choices, with art, music, or literature on your application. Right now, that version of you might be nestled in a small but sun-drenched Parisian studio. His canvas holds his unique interpretation of the world. His fingertips stained with indelible paint, his life simple, yet spiritually rich. Or perhaps he stands on a music festival stage, shouting verses from his heart through a guitar to thousands below. Sweat mingling with tears, that dazzling moment when dreams meet reality. His face may bear weariness and the marks of time, yet deep within his eyes burns that flame we once held but ultimately let slip away. Next is the you who seized love. Deep within each of us, perhaps, lies a person, an unfinished story, a farewell left unsaid. At that decisive moment, perhaps due to youthful arrogance or inexplicable timidity, you loosen the hand that could have held on tight. But in another parallel universe, the script was rewritten. On that drizzly dusk, the you who didn't choose turned away silently. He ran across the street, catching the departing train. Or perhaps, on that night of arguments, he uttered that crucial "I'm sorry." And so the story's course changed entirely. Right now, perhaps you're with the one you missed out on, selecting dinner ingredients at the supermarket, debating whether to catch a movie or visit parents this weekend. Their living room displays souvenirs from shared travels. Their child plays with building blocks on the floor. When you occasionally flip through old photos in this universe, feeling a pang of wistfulness. In that universe, he experiences the mundane joys and happiness you missed. It's a regret and fulfillment like parallel lines. Finally, let's look at the you who dared to start a business. Did you ever have a business idea swirling in your mind for ages? Did you ever yearn to break free from the routine of salaried life to create your own venture? But in our world, the fear of risk and the unease of the unknown might have made you ultimately retract the steps you'd taken. Yet, in that universe branch brimming with adventurous spirit, after countless sleepless nights, that version of you handed in your resignation. He poured his savings into a venture with uncertain prospects. Right now, that version of you might be living two entirely different destinies. One is that he succeeded. The company he founded grew from a small team into an industry leader. He stands under the spotlight at a launch event, introducing revolutionary products to the world. He achieved financial freedom, possessing influence and social standing beyond your imagination. He lives the life others envy. Yet another possibility is equally real. He might be enduring the agony of entrepreneurial failure. Funding dries up, the team disbands, dreams stall. Burdened by debt, he may be cleaning up the wreckage alone in his late-night office, tasting the bitterness and cruelty of reality. But whether success or failure, that version of him chose to follow his heart's impulse, to personally validate a life's possibilities. He possesses the grand waves you lack and shoulders risks and pressures you've never known. These different versions of you are like mirrors, reflecting your life's potential forms from every angle. They remind us that life isn't a single track, but a vast forest brimming with countless paths. Choosing one means missing the scenery along others. Yet the significance of these alternate versions of you lies not in indulging envy or relief over another life, but in profoundly expanding our self-understanding. They reveal you are not a fixed entity, but an elastic being brimming with potential. Those latent talents within you, those suppressed desires, are being fully expressed by another you in another universe. This proves your inner potential exists. Only in this universe you chose to channel them differently. Recognizing this, we might cherish our present life a little more and understand those unfulfilled dreams a little better. For they haven't vanished in the infinite cosmos. They've simply been gently caught by another you and lived out with earnestness. And right now, this one-of-a-kind you is walking a path equally unique. The scenery along this path is equally worthy of your wholehearted experience and appreciation. After exploring the versions of yourself whose lives diverged due to pivotal choices, let us now venture to a more extreme end, to visit those selves utterly opposite to you. These versions did not part ways with you at a specific juncture, but are, in essence, your mirror image. The choices they make are often the ones you would least likely make. They live lives that feel utterly foreign and even incomprehensible to you. This extreme contrast stems from the most fundamental differences in core personalities. Imagine if you are naturally introverted, preferring solitude and contemplation. Then, in some universe, there exists an extroverted, outgoing version of you. He fears loneliness and craves constant company. He is the undisputed center of attention at parties and social gatherings. He instantly connects with strangers. His contact list is filled with countless friends. His weekends are packed with parties and events. While you enjoy a quiet night of reading in this universe, he might be drinking and reveling with friends in a bustling bar. His energy comes from the stimulation of the external world, while yours stems from the stillness of your inner world. You two are like the positive and negative poles of a battery, charging life in completely different ways. Now imagine if you pursue stability and avoid risks in your life. Then, in another universe, there exists an adventurous version of you. He feels suffocated by routine. He needs constant challenges and uncertainty to feel truly alive. He might be a professional extreme athlete, scaling cliffs no one dares touch or navigating massive waves. Or perhaps he's a restless explorer, venturing deep into untamed rainforests or living among remote tribes. His body scarred with wounds each mark a tale untold. While you meticulously plan next month's mortgage and work schedule in this universe, he might be staking his entire savings on a high-stakes expedition. His security springs from absolute faith in his abilities and boundless curiosity about the unknown. Your security, however, stems from meticulously maintaining life's order. Your differing understandings and attitudes toward risk define entirely distinct life trajectories. Even in the most basic preferences, opposite versions may exist. If you crave spicy food, unable to live without it, then another you might find flavors utterly bland, viewing chili peppers as enemies. If you adore the bustle and convenience of cities, another you might dwell secluded in mountains and forests, companionship found only in nature. If you are rational, cool-headed, and skilled in logical analysis, there exists another you who is impulsive and intuitive, guided by gut feelings. These opposing selves seem like the other side of your soul. They embody the life potentials you've deeply suppressed or never even noticed. The extroverted one possesses the social confidence you lack. The adventurous one carries the daring spirit you don't have. The emotional one holds the sensitivity you overlook. Observing these contrasting selves is like conducting a profound psychological analysis of yourself. They reveal that your personality is neither innate nor fixed. It is merely a point you happen to occupy on a spectrum of infinite possibilities. Elsewhere in the universe, your essence expresses and manifests itself in entirely different ways. This realization might foster greater tolerance and understanding toward ourselves. Certain inner contradictions, those impulses we cannot even explain to ourselves, may well be the faint shadow cast by another, opposite version of you across the cosmos. Yet what matters is recognizing these contrasting lives hold no inherent hierarchy. The adventurous you may revel in ultimate freedom and thrill, but constantly faces existential threats and the erosion of solitude. The social butterfly may boast vast networks and vibrant life, yet lack profound introspection and the capacity for true solitude. Every extreme personality is a double-edged sword, bringing unique experiences while inevitably demanding corresponding costs and losses. The universe you inhabit and the personality you possess allow you to taste a set of life experiences uniquely yours, whether tranquil contentment or adventurous ecstasy. Both are equally precious forms of experience in the cosmos. Ultimately, recognizing the existence of these opposing selves holds the greatest significance in liberating our minds. It teaches us that no single path in life is uniquely correct or optimal. We need not confine ourselves within rigid self-perceptions. Within the bounds of your own nature, you may attempt to absorb a little of that opposite self's essence. For instance, let your introverted self occasionally try proactive socializing. Let your stability-seeking self occasionally take a small risk. This is not self-betrayal, but an exploration of richer dimensions of self. You needn't become that completely opposite version of yourself, but you can draw inspiration and courage from their existence to live a more integrated, less regretful life. For in the infinite cosmos, that most extreme counterpart has already lived out that pure opposite existence for you. And what you must do now is fully experience the uniquely yours journey of life. After our shared grand intellectual adventure across multiverses, after sketching countless versions of you, opposite personalities, parallel selves, even perfectly synchronized reflections, now we must gently ground our thoughts from these thrilling possibilities. Returning to the solid earth beneath our feet, we must confront a crucial question with equal rigor and honesty. All these astonishing visions of another you, what is their scientific standing? The answer is that these captivating possibilities currently remain within the realm of scientific hypothesis. They have not been proven and cannot be directly observed or verified with our current technological means. Acknowledging this does not negate the value of our previous explorations. On the contrary, it embodies the very essence of the scientific spirit. To maintain cautious skepticism while daring to imagine, to clearly define the boundaries of a theory while constructing it. First, let us clarify what constitutes a scientific hypothesis. A scientific hypothesis is neither arbitrary conjecture nor idle fantasy. It is a logically consistent, testable proposition grounded in existing scientific theories and observational facts. The concept of parallel universes, whether stemming from quantum mechanics' many worlds interpretation, or cosmology's eternal inflation theory, perfectly aligns with this definition. Both are rooted in established physical theories validated through countless experiments. Their mathematical derivations are rigorous. They were proposed to resolve profound challenges within existing theories. However, elevating a scientific hypothesis to the status of scientific theory or fact requires a crucial step: empirical verification. No matter how mathematically elegant or logically consistent a hypothesis may be, if it cannot be verified or falsified through observation or experiment, its scientific standing remains conjecture rather than established fact. Unfortunately, this is precisely the fundamental predicament currently facing the concept of parallel universes. Let us first examine the quantum many-worlds interpretation. This greatest challenge lies in its inherent unobservability. According to this interpretation's definition, when we perform a quantum measurement, the universe splits into multiple branches. Observers in each branch can only witness one outcome, and all causal connections with other branches are irrevocably severed. This implies that no matter how meticulously we design experiments, as observers trapped within a specific branch, we can never detect the existence of other branches. Each experiment will yield only one definite outcome. It's like a book torn into countless pages, each recording a possible story ending, and you've been randomly tossed onto one page. You can never leap beyond your page to read others. You cannot even be certain of the existence of other pages, because all your knowledge and evidence stems solely from the page you inhabit. This makes the many worlds interpretation philosophically compelling, yet difficult to advance in empirical science. We cannot prove it, nor can we disprove it. It resembles a specific interpretation of quantum mathematics rather than a testable physical model. Now consider another version of yourself within an infinite universe. Here, the challenge is equally immense, perhaps even more fundamental. According to our current physical theories, especially relativity, information cannot travel faster than light. The boundary of our observable universe, the particle horizon, is defined by the farthest distance light has traveled since the universe's birth. Light emitted by celestial bodies beyond this horizon has not yet had time to reach us. Therefore, whatever exists in those regions, whether another Earth and another you exist there, they lie beyond our absolute causality cone. We can never see them, never receive any information from them, never interact with them in any way. It is as if we are imprisoned within a vast spherical prison, with the walls being our cosmic horizon. We can never know what lies beyond those walls. Any descriptions of the world beyond can only be theoretical inferences, never confirmed by our eyes. We might search indirectly, through means like cosmic microwave background radiation, for traces of collisions between our universe and other cosmic bubbles in its infancy. But such a search is like looking for a needle in a haystack. To date, no conclusive evidence has been found, and even if such traces were discovered, their interpretation is rarely unique. Other, more conventional cosmological models might explain the same phenomena, without invoking the concept of parallel universes. Furthermore, the deduction that another version of you must exist in an infinite universe is mathematically flawless, but relies on a critical premise, that the universe is infinite in its entirety. All our observational evidence to date only confirms that our observable universe is flat and homogeneous. We cannot observe regions beyond the observable universe. Therefore, Whether the universe is infinite as a whole remains a belief based on theoretical extrapolation, rather than an observationally confirmed fact. It is the inference most consistent with current mainstream models, but it remains subject to revision by future, more precise observations. All these limitations remind us that we must guard against conflating scientific hypotheses with scientific facts. When we say another you might exist in the universe, this might refers to logical and mathematical possibility, a reasonable extension based on existing theoretical frameworks. But it is not yet an empirical possibility. We possess no direct sensory evidence or experimental data to support it. Within the halls of science, the concept of parallel universes may currently reside only in the vestibule. It has not yet secured admission to the main chamber. Yet recognizing these limitations does not mean we must abandon such ideas. On the contrary, understanding their constraints is precisely the prerequisite for applying these ideas correctly. It helps us delineate the boundary between science and pseudoscience. Science welcomes all bold hypotheses, but demands that hypotheses be open to empirical testing, or at least possess the potential for testing in principle. Pseudoscience, however, often evades testing by cloaking itself in unverifiable assertions. Although the parallel universe hypothesis is currently difficult to test, it remains, in principle, amenable to indirect verification. For instance, by searching for traces of cosmic collisions, or by detecting minute variations in our universe's physical constants. This keeps it firmly within the realm of science, and fundamentally distinguishes it from wholly supernatural mystical views. Understanding the limitations of these theories also serves as mental training. It teaches us how to think amid uncertainty, how to reason logically without complete information, and how to balance the elegance of theory with the constraints of empirical evidence. This constitutes a far more valuable scientific literacy than merely memorizing a few scientific conclusions. Finally, acknowledging what we do not know, recognizing the boundaries of theory, itself constitutes profound wisdom. It preserves space for future scientific discoveries, and sustains our eternal reverence for the universe's mysteries. Today's hypotheses may become tomorrow's validated theories, or perhaps the day after tomorrow's discarded fallacies. Yet this is precisely how science advances. Within the eternal tension between imagination and empirical evidence, we inch closer to that complex and profound truth. Therefore, as we revisit this intellectual journey exploring another version of yourself, approach it with an open mind to appreciate its logical beauty and imaginative grandeur, while also examining its foundational premises and evidentiary limitations with a critical eye. Only when these two perspectives converge does a complete, healthy scientific worldview emerge. And this is precisely what we shall explore next. Why these unverifiable hypotheses still hold profound significance for our lives. As we traverse the mathematical jungles of parallel universes, encountering and parting ways with countless possible selves, we finally return to that most fundamental and personal question. What does all this truly mean for me? If these theories cannot be proven or observed, if they are destined to remain clouds of thought drifting in the philosophical sky, then what purpose does devoting so much mental energy to contemplating them serve? Beyond satisfying momentary curiosity, can they cast a warm light upon our real lives? The answer is unequivocally yes, and this light may prove brighter and warmer than we imagine. The value of this intellectual adventure lies not in its truthfulness, but in the new perspective it offers us. A grand framework for re-examining our own lives and circumstances. Like a magical key, it unlocks four deep-seated locks within us, granting us courage, solace, resonance, and freedom. The first lock is the fear of the future and self-doubt. This corresponding key is the gift of courage. Deep within each of us lies a profound longing. Perhaps it's quitting a tedious job to travel the world. Perhaps it's pursuing a love deemed unlikely, free from others' judgment. Perhaps it's dedicating oneself to a creative endeavor with slim odds of success. Yet these dreams are often stifled by a voice within. A voice that relentlessly questions. Can you really do it? Is it realistic? Isn't the risk too great? Now imagine in some parallel universe, the version of you who made that courageous choice. Perhaps they've already circumnavigated the globe, standing atop Kilimanjaro, gazing out over the vast African savanna. Perhaps they've found their soulmate, experiencing profound happiness woven into everyday moments. Perhaps they've turned that wild idea into reality, receiving applause and recognition from the world. These successful models across universes reveal a profound truth. The life you dream of is not an illusory mirage. It is physically achievable. The atoms composing your body possess the capacity to rearrange themselves into that state of success. That version of you who achieved their dreams shares the same atomic origin as you. They prove that your genes, your talents, your inner potential are entirely sufficient to sustain you along the path you dare not tread. You share the same factory settings. The only difference is that he pressed the execution button while you did not. Recognizing this can infuse you with unprecedented strength. It's as if it's telling you, this path is passable. One of you has already walked it. All you need is to gather the same resolve as him, and make the same choice in this universe. This realization greatly dissolves our fear of the unknown, pulling dreams from a hazy fantasy into a clear, visible, and attainable destination. The second lock is the endless regret and entanglement over past choices. This corresponding key is the relief of regret. Life is a chain forged by countless choices. We often get stuck ruminating over pivotal moments. If only I'd chosen that major back then. If only I'd tried to keep that person. If only I'd accepted that job offer. Would my life be better now? This regret hangs like a heavy cloud over many hearts. But the parallel universe perspective offers a potent antidote. It reveals that the path you never took doesn't vanish into nothingness. Another version of you is walking it earnestly, experiencing it fully. You can release all attachment and imagination about that road. For another you is already experiencing every vista along that path, whether thorns or roses, and there's a strong chance that path isn't as wonderful as you imagined. The you who chose a different major might be complaining about tedious courses and tough job hunting. The you who's with someone else might be navigating conflicts and friction you know nothing about. The you who took that other job might be enduring pressures and exhaustion beyond your imagination. This isn't pessimism. It's life's norm. Every path is strewn with its own unique challenges and costs. No road is a perfect utopia. The one you walk now is equally filled with its own distinct beauty and precious moments. But being immersed in it, you've grown accustomed to its presence and overlooked its value. When you realize another version of you has already experienced that alternative possibility, you can truly make peace with your past choices. You can gently tell yourself it's okay. That path has already been walked for me. Now I can walk the path beneath my feet with peace and focus. This release allows you to fully immerse yourself in the present, to discover and cherish the unique gift of life, belonging to your branch of the universe. The third lock is the profound, indescribable loneliness deep within life. This corresponding key is the fight against loneliness. Humans are fundamentally solitary beings. Our consciousness is confined within the boundaries of our brains. No one, no matter how close, can fully comprehend our feelings, especially in the dead of night, when we face the turbulence within our hearts alone. That sense of isolation, as if cast into an endless void, becomes particularly intense. Yet the vision of parallel universes offers cosmic-scale solace for this loneliness. Tells you, you are not fighting this battle alone. In the infinite cosmos, countless versions of you exist. They breathe, feel, and think just as you do. When you're disheartened by failure, countless versions of you are licking their wounds just as you are. Yet they too are gathering strength for the next journey. When you rejoice in success, countless versions of you are celebrating just as you do. Their smiles bloom alongside yours in places you cannot see. When love stirs your heart, countless versions of you experience the same racing pulse, feeling that pure emotional tremor. Every emotion you feel, every struggle you endure, every tiny joy you find, echoes endlessly in the depths of the cosmos. You are no longer a solitary soloist, but part of a vast, timeless chorus spanning time and space. Though you cannot hear the other voices, you know they are there, singing the same hymn of life with you. This awareness brings a profound sense of belonging and connection. It liberates the individual from the illusion of isolation, placing them anew within a vast, vibrant cosmic family. The fourth lock is the solidification of the status quo and resistance to change. This corresponding key is embracing possibility. We often fall into a mental rut, believing our lives are set in stone, that the future is merely a linear extension of today, with little room for fundamental change. This rigid mindset stifles our vitality, leaving us to muddle through in dissatisfaction. But the concept of parallel universes fundamentally shatters this rigidity. It reveals reality's essence as fluid, brimming with infinite possibilities. Your current life is merely one of countless possibilities, and a temporary one at that. At the quantum level, the universe branches at every instant, creating new choices and fresh starting points for you. You always possess the freedom and ability to make new choices. Each new choice may lead you into a completely new branch of the universe, unlocking a radically different life trajectory. It's as if you constantly hold a cosmic remote control in your hand. You can press the channel switching button at any time. If you're dissatisfied with your current situation, you can choose to courageously change at the next decision point. Try a new job, learn new skills, build new relationships. You're not gliding along a fixed track. You're strolling across a field of infinite possibilities. You can change direction anytime to explore new territories. This awareness of possibility is profoundly liberating. It grants us a sense of lightness and agency. It makes us realize we are co-creators of our own lives, rather than passive recipients. In summary, this intellectual adventure into parallel universes ultimately points not to the mysteries of external cosmoses, but to our inner growth and liberation. By granting us courage to pursue dreams, easing our regrets about the past, soothing our deep loneliness, and inspiring us to embrace the infinite possibilities of the future, it tangibly enhances the quality of our lives within this present universe. It reveals that science's ultimate purpose is not merely to understand the world, but to better ground ourselves through that understanding. It invites us to live more courageously, more transparently, more connected, and more freely. In this universe, perhaps the only one we can truly perceive. This may be the most beautiful destination of all intellectual journeys. It does not invite us to flee reality, but rather to return to our one and only present life, with wisdom and strength drawn from afar, to embrace it more deeply and passionately. This intellectual journey we've undertaken together is nearing its temporary endpoint, beginning with humanity's most universal emotions, regret and curiosity. We entered quantum mechanics' bizarre yet exquisite microscopic realm. We witnessed how Everett's many worlds interpretation, depicts each quantum choice as a cosmic fork in the road. We saw that cat, both dead and alive, unharmed in one universe, yet silently gone in another. We leapt from the microscopic to the macroscopic, gazing upon the infinite vistas revealed by cosmology. We understood how the infinite Monkey Theorem, combined with infinite space, deriving the mathematical inevitability of another you existing. We encountered your perfectly synchronized counterpart. He shadows you, sharing the same life melody. We visited the you who chose differently. They lived out versions of your life you never experienced. We even glimpsed the you who made opposite choices. They interpret life's possibilities in ways beyond your imagination. We also honestly confronted the limitations of these theories, acknowledging they remain scientific hypotheses awaiting verification. But we delve deeper into the value of this intellectual adventure, how it empowers us with courage to ease regret, combat loneliness, and embrace infinite possibilities. Now let us return to that original question. How many versions of you exist in the universe? From the perspective of the quantum many-worlds interpretation, the answer is infinite. Every choice, no matter how small, creates new branches, giving birth to new universes and new versions of you. From the perspective of infinite universes theory, the answer is likewise infinite. In infinite space, finite particle arrangements must repeat infinitely. Precise versions of you and approximate versions of you exist throughout the cosmos. Yet, from your current perception and experience, the answer can only be one. It is you sitting here watching this video. You who are breathing, thinking, and feeling. You are the sole conscious entity that truly exists for you, across all theories and possibilities. Thus, what we ultimately arrive at is not a singular answer, but a tension-filled triple cognition. You are both one and countless. This apparent contradiction reveals truths existing at different levels. Macroscopic physical reality points to infinity. Microscopic individual experience points to uniqueness. Recognizing the coexistence of these two is precisely the key to gaining wisdom from this. Now I invite you to step outside the framework of science for a moment and engage in a pure thought experiment. Gently close your eyes and imagine this: one day, you truly have the chance to face another version of yourself from a parallel universe. He might come from a branch split off by one of your critical choices. He might be living a life utterly different from yours. You meet in a neutral space, gazing at each other like looking into a mirror, familiar yet strange. What question would you most want to ask him in that moment? This question might reveal your deepest longing. It might expose your longest hidden fear. It might untangle a knot in your heart that's been there for years. It might offer you unprecedented insight. You might ask him, "Are you happy?" Behind this question lies your search for the essence of happiness. It's a quiet measure of your own life's path. You might ask him, "Do you regret that decision?" Behind this question lies your lingering regret over past choices, your eternal curiosity about the paths not taken. You might ask him, "What have I missed?" Behind this question lies your awareness of your own limitations, your yearning for broader life experiences. You might ask him, "Do you have any advice for me?" Behind this question lies your uncertainty about the future, your longing for wise guidance. You might ask him, "Whose life has more meaning?" Behind this question lies your reflection on standards of value and your profound exploration of existence's purpose. Each question is a window through which we glimpse our inner selves more clearly, seeing what truly matters to us, what we cherish, fear, and yearn for. Now this imagined time has ended. Open your eyes and return to reality. Though we cannot truly converse with another version of ourselves, the very act of posing these questions holds immense value. It forces us into profound self-examination. I sincerely invite you to share your answer to this question. In the comments section below the video, let us engage in a collision of ideas across virtual space. You may simply write down your question, or share why you asked it, the story and emotions behind it. I promise to read every comment carefully. I believe that when countless thoughts from different universes converge, we will collectively create an immensely rich intellectual cosmos. There lies acceptance of the past, and yearning for the future, self-awareness, and insights into life. Your sharing is not merely a response to this video, but a heartfelt tribute to countless parallel selves. Before concluding, let us return to this singular reality, this branch of the universe you are personally experiencing. No matter how many versions of you exist in distant realms, the one watching this video right now is the only reality you can grasp, experience, and shape. His breath, his heartbeat, his choices constitute the entirety of your life's content. Cherish this you. Treat this you with kindness. Bravely allow this you to experience, to grow, to love, to feel, to live out the uniquely splendid brilliance belonging to your universe. For in the most fundamental sense, you are him and he is you. Your very encounter is this universe's greatest miracle. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey of thought. May you find peace, joy, and courage within your own universe. Now it's your turn. If you encountered another version of yourself in a parallel universe, what question would you most want to ask? I await your answer in the comments. Let us continue this ceaseless cosmic dialogue. Perhaps you'd ask him, have the regrets buried deep in your heart found resolution in his world? Did the musical dreams you reluctantly abandoned become the center of his life? Is that person you passed by now by his side? His very existence gently whispers to you that the unfulfilled yearnings in your heart are not illusions. They are vividly blooming in another time and space. Perhaps you'd wonder if he too has tossed and turned late at night, contemplating the meaning of existence. When he gazes at the stars, does he feel the same sense of smallness and awe? These questions will lead you beyond superficial differences, to touch upon the shared existential experience of all humanity. Perhaps you'll wonder how he confronts the character flaws you both share, that tendency toward anxiety, that overly sensitive nature. Has it been amplified or healed in his life? His answers might illuminate your own path forward. Perhaps you'll ask him about his parents' twilight years, about the growth of children, these eternal emotional ties. Did different choices lead to different outcomes? Behind these questions lies your profound care for life's most precious connections. Now let us shift our focus slightly away from personal matters, to contemplate more philosophically charged possibilities. If another you came from a parallel universe with more advanced technology, he might bring startling revelations, such as humanity finally achieving consciousness uploading in some future, or discovering methods to communicate with other universes. These imaginings not only spark our curiosity, but also compel us to reflect on the relationship between technology and humanity. If another you came from a universe where civilization took a different path, where art, rather than technology, became the core driving force of societal development, then his worldview and values might be entirely different from yours. Conversing with him would be a profoundly mind-altering experience. Perhaps in some universe, humanity learned to communicate with nature on a deeper level, where the boundaries between animals and humans blurred, and the entire planet's ecosystem resonated in harmony. Such a version of you might bring profound wisdom about the interconnectedness of life. Considering we're exploring scientific hypotheses, let's also envision dialogues closer to physics. You might ask him, are the physical constants in that universe identical to ours? Is the speed of light faster? Is gravity weaker? How did these differences shape the trajectory of their civilization? Such contemplation stretches our imagination to its limits. After these flights of fancy, let's return to a more grounded question. If he came from a universe diverging due to a minor choice, you might ask him, what was that decisive moment? Which choice, seemingly insignificant to you, led to such vast divergence in your lives? The answer to this question might sharpen your awareness of those ordinary moments in life that hold infinite potential. Interestingly, you might encounter a version of yourself posing the same question, also seeking answers to his own life's journey. This mirror-like mutual inquiry reveals the eternal quest and confusion inherent in the human condition. Perhaps the most comforting conversation would be about happiness. When you ask him if he is happy, his answer, whether affirmative or not, offers you a precious point of reference. The ways happiness manifests across different life paths is itself a subject worthy of deep contemplation. Given the scientific nature of our channel, you might discuss with him the latest developments in quantum mechanics. In his universe, is the Copenhagen interpretation still the mainstream? Have scientists found a way to unify relativity and quantum mechanics? Such a conversation would be a brilliant thought experiment. Imagine if he came from a universe where humanity has achieved interstellar travel. He describes the magnificent vistas of traversing galaxies, shares the awe-inspiring encounters with alien civilizations. How would these narratives expand your perception of possibility? Or perhaps he hails from a universe where human civilization regressed, where technology was lost and knowledge forgotten. His story would become a precious warning for our civilization. Beyond these grand narratives, perhaps what touches us most are the ordinary details. Does he still keep that storybook from your shared childhood? Does he remember the taste of that dish his grandmother made? These small, concrete memories are the true threads weaving the texture of our lives. You might wonder how he perceives the similarities and differences between you. When he gazes at you, is he also searching this familiar face for unfamiliar traces? This mutual observation itself is a profound philosophical question. Perhaps among all possibilities, the most thought-provoking is that he brings not answers, but more questions. His very existence challenges your ingrained perceptions of self and reality. This challenge is precisely the beginning of growth. Now let us pause these imaginings and return to our one and only reality. No matter how captivating these thought experiments may be, we must remember what truly matters is the choice you are making right now, the time you are spending, the relationships you are building. Yet these reflections on parallel universes do offer us valuable tools for the mind. They help us break free from either slash or thinking and approach life with greater openness and flexibility. When you hesitate over a crucial decision, imagine your counterparts across parallel universes, each having chosen a different path. This perspective clarifies the potential outcomes of each choice. When you dwell on past regrets, reassure yourself, in some universe, another you has already walked that unfinished path. This thought brings a remarkable sense of release. When loneliness creeps in, picture countless versions of yourself striving in their own universes. This sense of connection offers warm solace. Most importantly, recognizing infinite possibilities exist in every present moment keeps our hearts young and open. Always believe in the potential for change and growth. Now it's your turn. I sincerely look forward to seeing your questions in the comments section. Your imagined dialogue with another version of yourself will inspire not only me, but countless viewers of this video. Let's collectively build the next chapter of this thought experiment. In this one certain universe, let's create our collective uncertain brilliance. Because, in a way, isn't each of us a unique universe? With our own distinct laws and histories, yet we intersect beautifully in this moment. This is the most moving aspect of science communication. It not only helps us understand the stars, but also helps us understand ourselves. May this conversation across the cosmos create ripples in your heart that never fade.